I have bad news for President Donald Trump. Swagatham, welcome. Special greetings to my brothers and sisters in the United States of America. Well, this bad news is not of my making, it's entirely of Trump's making. And since everybody else is keeping quiet about it, I feel duty bound out of love for Trump and even more so for the people of the United States. I feel compelled, urged, left with no option but to do this video, and I offer my insights to such people as would care to lend me an ear. Now, let me begin in this manner. Perhaps the most significant thing that has happened ever since Trump became the 47th President of America is a statement issued deliberately by the Chinese ambassador to the United States, who said, and I'm saying this very slowly so that this can sink in. It's extremely important. I can't exaggerate the importance of this. Please understand this. This is actually the signpost to the future, and those who ignore this will do so to their own embarrassment. What did the Chinese ambassador to the United States say yesterday? He said, if it's a tariff war or a trade war, and now mark my words, or the words of the ambassador, or any other type of war, China is ready and we will fight it to the finish. Please remember these words, and I'm going to repeat the words. If it's a tariff war or a trade war or any other type of war that America wants, we are ready and we will fight to the finish. Why do you think the Chinese ambassador made this statement? Those of us who are at least marginally familiar with China and its culture have always appreciated the Chinese discipline of reticence, that is, not speaking too much. Well, everybody is very eloquent and very generous with words. The Chinese mostly keep quiet. And therefore, you must take this statement very seriously. Number two, not only that the Chinese ambassador to the United States has spoken, he has spoken with unprecedented, unusual aggression. Aggression. This is not the way the Chinese diplomats speak usually. They may have spoken in this manner maybe 50 years ago, but after the 90s, after the emergence of the global order, the Chinese have deliberately toned down their public utterances. Third thing, why did the Chinese ambassador, and this is not his statement, no Chinese ambassador to the United States can make a statement of this kind unless he is asked to do so by the Chinese government, the foreign ministry, which certainly has the approval of Xi Jinping, the Chinese boss. So it's not a small statement, it's not a casual statement, it is done deliberately. Why did the Chinese ambassador make a reference to any other kind of war? Such war was never in the horizon. America never made a reference to it. No other person made a reference to it. America did not place itself in a position of aggression towards China. Then why did the Chinese ambassador say this? In diplomatic language, this is carrying things too far. And therefore, it is absolutely essential for us to ask the question how to understand this, how to read this, how to decode the message embedded in these very extremely unusual and significant words. Well, this is precisely what I want to offer to you. Now, my thesis is this. Russia has sensed the kill. Russia has sensed the weakness of Trump. And Russia is trying to blackmail Trump. Make no doubt about it. If you look at the way, if you have been monitoring the way Putin and his associates have responded to all the very significant, overgenerous overtures that President Trump has been making in public to Putin and his gang, you will know that they have been playing their game very, very carefully, very wisely, according to a very carefully scripted plan. Now, let me make the matters very simple. Putin is going to treat Trump exactly as Trump treated Zelensky. Why? Because Putin, being the shrewd reader of human nature that he is, being the international fox that he is, he has understood that only a bully will treat the president of a free nation in the manner that Trump treated Zelensky. And Putin also knows that a bully is also a coward. And he understands the language of force and the tactic of coercion. So, from Putin's point of view, what was Donald Trump doing with Zelensky in the White House on that fateful Friday? Put very simply, Trump was trying to blackmail Zelensky. And I've already dealt with this theme in a previous video, and I do not want to repeat any of the contents of that video. Very simple, you can't mistake it. The way Trump has dealt with Zelensky can be described in one word: blackmail. Now, consider this. Trump, apart from making all the concessions that Putin could not have dreamt of under Joe Biden, apart from making all the concessions that perhaps Putin would not have hoped he would gain via negotiations, even before negotiations begin, everything is already granted him on a platter, which is a sign of weakness. It's a sign of stupidity, diplomatic stupidity. It's a failure of diplomacy. So Putin has understood it clearly in a certain manner. And that is simple. Here is a man who is very keen to please me, and therefore he is willing to go to any extent in pushing around a man who is absolutely helpless, namely Zelensky. Trump cannot afford to deal with Putin the way he is dealing with Zelensky. Why else would he say that Putin is not the dictator? It's Zelensky who is the dictator. Why would he imply that Putin did not attack Ukraine, but Ukraine attacked itself via Putin? Sorry, Ukraine attacked itself via Putin. Or Ukraine invited Putin to attack itself. Why would he say that? It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absurd. It is insane. It is senseless. Only a person who is over eager to please Putin will make such statements. Statements that that took even Putin and his spokesperson by surprise. Now, it's very simple. Trump wants to cultivate Putin, and is willing to go to any extent, and is willing to violate any international law, abandon every etiquette in international relations, including commitment to rules-based global order, misrepresent facts to any extent in order to appease Putin. He has read the game clearly. And he has also understood that only a person who is inwardly weak will behave in the manner that Trump is doing today. And how is Trump behaving? There's a clear contrast between how Trump is dealing with Putin on the one side and everybody else other than Xi Jinping on the other. And what's the difference? Trump expects everybody else to fall flat before him, whereas he treats Putin with great deference, exaggerated deference. Trump believes that other than Putin, everybody in the world is duty bound, obliged to bend their knees before him, whereas he's quite willing to bend his knees before Putin. Now, how do you explain this? What's the need for it? So Putin has seen through this very clearly. And from that, he has come to the conclusion that Putin can blackmail Trump at least to the extent that Trump has blackmailed Zelensky. Now, it is in this context that you must read or decode the statement by the Chinese ambassador to the United States. What is the purport? What's the intention of that statement? It's clearly to blackmail Trump. Make no doubt about it. At least I am left with absolutely no doubt at all. For China to say that we are willing to fight any kind of war with you at this time, when America has actually showcased in public its weakness, made 1,000 confessions of its inadequacies via the way Trump has treated Ukraine, Europe, so on and so forth. What has Trump revealed? Trump has only so far revealed American weakness. Trump is saying, look, to the European countries, we are in no position to take care of you. We are so weak. We can't stand on our own feet. How do you expect us to take care of you? Take care of yourself. Trump is also saying to Ukraine, yes, my predecessor invested money. We can't. America just can't afford it. We are weak. That's exactly what he's saying. What else? What is all this trade tariff war about? It clearly means the compulsion that America is in on account of the economic weakness of America, which has already totaled debts to the tune of $36 trillion. America is in a state of economic crisis. It will do all it can to camouflage that weakness, but Trump is actually exposing that weakness. So America, as of now, is in no position to take on China. Therefore, the Chinese government and the Chinese ambassador in the United States can afford to blackmail or issue not veiled, open threats to America, virtually challenging America to enter into a military confrontation with China. We are ready and we will fight it to the finish, he says. Simply because the understanding between Putin and Xi Jinping is such that Putin can make Xi adopt a posture which will make Trump even more humble, compliant, and obedient before Putin. So, the moment China assumes this kind of aggressive posture, Trump has to come to the conclusion, there is no other alternative, has to the conclusion that his need to keep Putin with him, the need to keep Putin well-humored, and therefore the need to offer more and more and more on a platter to Putin is paramount. It is unprecedented. He cannot but do this. So you will find, if my interpretation is right, you will find Putin acting more and more tough in the peace negotiations, and therefore only one kind of peace will result from this exercise, namely peace that results from the complete humiliation and submission of Ukraine to the will and might of Putin. Now, whether that is acceptable to Zelensky and his people, whether the European powers will actually endorse it, is something that we must wait and see. I'll do a video based on this and something similar very soon. So, if my reading is right, I don't have any hope whatsoever that peace, negotiated, settled peace, which partakes even remotely of justice to Ukraine, can be created or achieved by Trump through all this exercise. In fact, He has rendered that exercise even more meaningless, impossible, unmanageable. He has defeated the very purpose on which he embarked by the way he has managed it so far. And therefore, the European leaders have come to the conclusion that here is a gentleman whose way of handling international affairs will only complicate matters, and therefore time has come for them to fend for themselves. So, one thing is clear: Donald Trump's period of honeymoon in the office of the President of the United States is over. Now, the time of housekeeping and harsh realities is begun. And the challenge, the open threat, the unveiled threat by the Chinese ambassador to the United States issued yesterday is a clear indication, if indication is needed in that direction. I don't know how many foreign policy pundits in the United States, how many in Trump circles will read it in the manner that I have. I don't see any Indian foreign affairs expert or even European foreign affairs expert reading it in the manner that I have. I'm willing to stick my neck out and say that this is exactly the ground reality, and that peace negotiations are headed to move into an extremely, extremely hard and unmanageable stage in the days ahead. It is for this reason that Trump, who made such a public display of Zelensky's willingness to accommodate or even to humiliate himself before Trump, does not make a statement about Putin. He says he is encouraging responses from Russia. But what has Putin said? Has Putin committed himself to anything? Has Putin opened his cards? Trump says Putin has all the cards. Which card has he opened? No, he's playing it very close to his chest. That is typical KGB agent become the president, the dictator of Russia. And therefore, quite simply, my dear friends, I'm sorry to say, President Donald Trump has muddied the waters beyond repair. The outcome will be very embarrassing, not just for the people of Ukraine, but also for the people of the United States of America. I really feel sorry for them. Well, let's wait and see. I hope I am proved wrong. I sincerely hope that just and lasting peace is negotiated and settled between Ukraine and Putin, in which case I will be the first person to hail Trump as the greatest apostle of peace, and for the rest of my life I will live as an ardent, blind, enthusiastic devotee of Donald Trump. I'll do that with all the gratitude you can imagine. But going by the evidence so far and going by what has come to light, this looks extremely unlikely. It looks extremely difficult, if not altogether impossible. I wish Donald Trump all the best, and I wish and pray that God would give him greater wisdom, because he claims to be on a mission given to him by God himself. If this is the way God inspires people, then God better change his ways and act a little more sensibly. Well, as Donald Trump also says, God save America. Because I tell you, if things are going the way they have gone so far in the last 40 days, only America can save. So only God can save America. And if it goes on like this for one more month, not even God may be able or even willing to save America. Well, thank you very much. All the very best.